leads into my other question about, you mentioned it briefly there about refinancing. If there's one, piece of advice that you would provide, our viewers and listeners about, refinancing. I know that, we were talking offline that is there about 1 million mortgages that are coming up in 2026?
2025. So this year we have 1 million
Wow.
mortgages coming up in Canada.
Okay.
Next year I think might even be a bigger year. So it's a good time to shop around. It's a good time to look at all your options, right?
Okay, so and is there a piece of advice that, focusing on the refinancing where that's probably on a lot of people's minds, and it's kind of, as you said, prevention, let's start thinking about it now. Is there something that you would provide, people who want to work with you or even just anyone else, is there something that you should say to them thinking about crunching those numbers in relation to refinancing?
No, absolutely. So where I like to specialize in and where I find maybe I have a bit of an edge is I don't just look at your immediate need, right? So your mortgage up for renewal, in a couple months, we're going to help with that. But what's your plan after that renewal? Are you buying and are you going to sell this house? Are you maybe going to look to pull out equity to buy a rental? So it's looking at your big picture. So for me to ask questions is my most important thing. So if I know you might sell this house in a year, I'm going to be telling you to go variable right now because you have that lower penalty, and of course you're going to ride some variable decreases. But for me, it's understanding what your plan is, and a lot of the refinancing I'm doing right now aren't just straight mortgage transfers, right? So there was a change out that we can do a mortgage transfer with no stress test with some limitations, but most of my refinances are consolidating debt, right?
Okay.
So we've seen a lot of debt loads go up over the last couple of years with higher rates and just the changes we went through. So if we're consolidating 50,000 of unsecured debt, or I've gone much higher than that too. It's also working backwards. What's that mortgage payment you're paying at the end of this, right? So if we look at maybe you're up for renewal, and again, you're at 2.2 right now, but now you're maybe going to a 4.2 variable. But we're paying out 50,000 of credit cards. We'll do an analysis, say, based off of what you're currently spending, and this is not just the interest only payment on these credit cards, it's what you would have to pay on principal to get these things down. When we do that analysis, even with that higher interest rate, you're going to be saving on a monthly basis because we're reducing that debt and those payments required. And then, like I said, we can look at your amortization. What are you currently paying? What's your cash flow? And then build flexibility by taking advantage of prepayment options to pay down this mortgage faster when the time is right.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's really good advice because I have clients myself who are starting to think about it, and they're maybe looking at maybe if there's opportunities, for investments. Can they pull from the refinance options? So that's some great advice for everyone.